Wow, what a card. That was a crazy, crazy night. I had to take a day off to before I recorded this so I could get my thoughts on it together. I guess I should start out with saying I did make a prediction video for this card for 260, and the video got corrupted. I don't know where. I think it was the audio file. So that sucks. But my predictions, I guess I'll run them over now. Were Worthy over Malarkey, Robertson over Maverick, O'Malley over Almeida, Woodley over Luque, and Stipe over Ngannou. I got 1 out of 5. That's pretty bad for me. I'm usually pretty good for it. Uh, the first two fights were kind of like 50-50, with the exception, I guess not 50-50, but Robertson's Canadian, so I kind of just chose her over everything. And then I kind of want to get into O'Malley versus Almeida. The other two fights were okay. They were good, especially Malarkey versus Worthy. That was a quick fight. I was even thinking to myself, like, isn't Malarkey from Australia or New Zealand? I forget which one. So he's either training with Whitaker or he's training with uh, Izzy. And as I was thinking that to myself, he knocked out Worthy, so that was kind of funny. And then Robertson versus Maverick. Yeah, that didn't quite go how I expected it. I thought it'd go the other way with the grappling, that Robertson would grapple Maverick, but didn't happen. And Maverick won the decision, I believe, or did she submit her at some point? I think it was decision. Uh, and then O'Malley versus Almeida. This fight was a real show up or shut up moment for O'Malley, especially after denying that he lost to Cheeto. So it was a big moment for him to, win this fight. And when he knocked him down in the first round, uh, all fears, in my opinion, for if O'Malley was really weak in the legs, kind of went away. I thought that the minute he dropped him the first one, I'm like, okay, he's got this fight. He's not just some sort of one kind of guy and one note guy. And then he got hit in the legs a bunch. So I think at the same time, like, that proved that uh, idea was false. He can take a leg shot, and I think like there is an unfortunate misconception with him about his legs, and that is he. I don't know if he tore the Liz Frank or if he broke the Liz Frank. I don't know if it's a bone or if it's a muscle. I think it might be a bone, but he broke that doing a spinning kick or a spinning back kick. So he did that to himself, and then with the Cheeto fight, it was kind of just unlucky. I mean, how many times do we see leg kicks that don't result in that nerve being pinched, making your foot go numb? It's kind of crazy how often that doesn't happen. In fact, he even brought it up that it's only happened 3 times in the UFC. So that's insane, especially nowadays where we see everyone throwing calf kicks or leg kicks all fight. So I think it's a good thing that his leg injuries have been disproven at this point, like that he's weak in the legs. So good for him. And as far as the late shot, I don't think it was late. Like that, it was totally necessary to do because Almeida was still looking. He was still there. He could have still gotten back up. And yeah, I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, that was totally necessary. Woodley versus Luque. Uh, I I thought Woodley was going to come back with a fire in this one. I thought he didn't want to get cut, but as we were like getting ready to watch this fight, somebody told me that he said something about missing Scott Coker in Strikeforce, and quickly did I change my opinion on the fight when they started, and then Woodley wobbles Luque, and I'm like, okay, never mind, I was good. I had the right pick, and then immediately Luque fucking wobbles him, and dude had to hold himself up on the fence. That was nuts. That was unexpected, crazy, and just kind of rough to be a dominant champion like he was to losing now in the first round like that. At least with his losses against Kamaru Usman and Burns, they went to decision. But then against Colby, it ended in the fifth. This one ended in the first, and it's getting progressive. It got progressively worse for him. Yeah, I think he's probably gonna go. Probably gonna leave. He's had problems with the UFC for years, even when he was a champion. So I think he's gonna leave the UFC at least. I think I know a couple of people who say bare knuckle boxing because that's where everyone seems to go after they leave the UFC at this point. So yeah, hope maybe we'll see him there. I think it's time for him to give up in the UFC. I do. He's on a 4-fight losing streak. Two of them being finishes, and this is very close to him being a dominant champion. I mean, shit, he beat Darren Till, who was unbeaten. Was he unbeaten at the time? Yeah, I think he was unbeaten at the time. He was a killer at the time. He was the gorilla, you know. Now he says shit like I'm scared of Yoel. But anyway, yeah, I think it's Woodley should hang up the gloves and go to bare knuckle. I think that would be interesting. And then Stipe versus Ngannou. I thought we were going to be saying and still, but instead we were saying and new at the end, which people were saying like Ngannou's improved so much over the last 3 years since that first fight, and all I could say to myself was that's also 3 years for Stipe to get better and better. But turns out I was wrong. He ended up losing in the second round by a nasty knockout. I mean, he fought. He put up a good fight. Dude has an insane chin to get beat the way he did while he was on the ground, to get back up, get hit again and wobbled, go back in to the exchange and catch another one while he's wobbled, and that's what put him down. That was a crazy exchange. Very ballsy of him to think that he had rocked Ngannou and then stepped back in for it. But then, yeah, got dropped. Watching his leg curl up as he fell down was brutal. Like, that sucks. That looked so nasty to me. It was just not fun. Because I think Stipe is one of the greatest heavyweight fighters of all time. But now I think Ngannou, if he's got this kind of defense, like shit, I didn't even think about it before the fight, but he's stuffed Curtis Blades' takedowns, and Curtis Blades is also a class wrestler. He's great. Seems to get knocked out quite a bit. Derek Lewis and Ngannou seem to like knocking that boy out, but he's a good wrestler. And then Stipe, uh, don't know if a rematch is something that should be talked about. I mean, if they went into 4 or 5 rounds and then he got knocked out, maybe. But 2 rounds, a little quick. I don't think a rematch is something that's like right now. He should go back, win a fight or two. Maybe he should fight Derek Lewis. Stipe, Derek Lewis, Ngannou versus Jones, and then the winner of those two fight again or fight just in general. Yeah, but I guess that allows us to move forward in the heavyweight division. It's felt stagnant with Stipe and DC, and now somebody new who is also going to hold this thing for a long time. I think no one is going to be able to do anything to him unless it's Derek Lewis, because Derek Lewis can easily match that power, I think. Derek Lewis is a killer. Look what he did to Curtis Blades. I think those two should be the fight, and I think Jones should fight somebody else before getting a title fight. Just because he should have not necessarily like a prove yourself match, but like definitely should have something there first so we can see what he's like at heavyweight, so we can tell what's going to happen with Ngannou instead of just getting a fight. I mean, there's a history of people going up, TJ Dillashaw going down without any fights prior and then losing. So maybe it might be for the best for John Jones to have a fight first to see what he's capable of and then fight the champion. But if it's going to be Jones versus Ngannou next, I think Ngannou beats him. I think Ngannou knocks him out in the fucking first 2, just like Stipe. I think John Jones gets hit once, starts running away, putting his hands up, poking him in the eyes, and then gets knocked out with the next hit. I don't think Jones has the chin. I mean, he and Reyes went 5 rounds, and then knocked Reyes out, no problem. I don't think there's anyone on the level of Ngannou in power, with the exception of Derek Lewis, and no one that Jones has fought. If he had fought Jan and beat him, maybe I could, say like, oh, maybe he can withstand that Polish power, he can withstand Ngannou's power. But because we didn't see that fight, I would have to believe that there's a good possibility he cannot take that power, and that power would put him down. And personally, I kind of hope that happens. I think that John Jones' time is over. He needs to go take a seat, go join DC in retirement, and deal with some personal demons, if you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, that's it for me. I'll definitely be predicting the 261 card. Hopefully the audio doesn't corrupt. So see you around.